All right, hello all. Today we're gonna get started with a presentation on scouting, which is very important, usually, and we'll explain why, or I'll explain why. So first off, what do y'all think scouting means? Just put your answers in the Twitch chat, and we'll see how right you all are. Information gathering. Yeah, that's one way. Yeah, I mean that's right. But in the context of an event, it's scouting the other teams at your event to know what you're up against or who you could potentially be with in a match. Because, again, we work on alliances with other teams. So, pre event scouting, I don't know how much we're going to do before Cowtown, but normally what you do is to scout, you pre scout an event by just looking at the entry list, which for Cowtown is here. And just especially, I mean, most of these robots should have competed somewhere, somehow, even if it was an at-home challenge. There should be at least one event under the belt. Now, that event may have been a year and a half ago, and that's kind of why scouting for Cowtown is going to be weird because in fact, Cowtown as a whole is going to be weird because these robots haven't touched carpet, the field carpet in a year and a half. So, but you could theoretically go look up all these teams and kind of see what do they have, about how good are they going to be, what capabilities will they have, etc. Find the entry list. So that link is specific for Cowtown Throwdown. First has an event system. Like we can even see for the upcoming season. Um, oh yeah, okay. You can actually see the event that we're signed up for and all the other teams that have signed up for it. Also see the second event that we're looking for. I'm just going to sort by event code because it's easier to find it. Is, we'd be, if we get into this event, we'd be against, Titanium, who's pretty good, Onyx, who's pretty good. I mean, a lot of other good robots here, but those are the two main ones I see right off the bat. So for next year, our first event in Oklahoma, we won't have much in the way of what those robots have done previously, unless we go watch reveal videos and such. Um, but for later season events, a lot of the robots will have competed, so you might as well go see how they did just to get a feel for what you're up against. This year's going to be weird. Oh yeah, but at early season events, you can look at how robots or how teams have done in previous years, to kind of get an idea of just how good they're going to be and how much you have to pay attention to them. But this year is going to be weird because there's going to be a lot of turnover. I mean, Team 1806 has one student who's ever been to an event before, a real first, robots playing against each other event. And there's a lot of other teams that are in the same boat. In fact, there's a lot of teams that don't even exist anymore. That's respects Team 932 from Oklahoma. We actually won two Oklahoma regionals with them, and they are after the pandemic, they are no longer a team. Circuit Chargers out of Tulsa, really good team. They're going to be missed around here. Yeah, you can look at home competition events to get an idea of how good a robot it will be. Um, last time Infinite Recharge was played officially, you can actually go here, see how it's just slash 2020. Um, only week one or week two events actually happened. So you can go see just how poorly we did in our first event that year if you really wanted to. Close to the bottom, but not exactly on the bottom. I actually had a okay-ish record. I mean, that's a losing record, but for how challenging that event was, that record could have been way worse. Um, Also, the Blue Alliance is a good website. I've probably been over this before, but you can see all the challenges. But also, there have been off-season events played. I don't know if many teams around here have taken part in an off-season before, and some off-seasons just don't upload to YouTube. But like, I do know some teams around here played in this, but you know, information from that event is sparse. Um, in season, yeah, try to find reveal videos, CAD code, you know, anything to see what they're doing, and that can even just be to see if there's like some easy upgrade you can do to your robot where it's like, oh wow, that's a really simple mechanism that makes their robot a lot better. So why scout? Well, why do pre-scouting? Um, Looking at your event before you go can let you set up an autonomous mode to work with certain teams. You know, as motion profiling and adaptive pure pursuit gain more traction, robots are moving around the field in auto more than ever. So if you can make an auto that, you have autos that would have otherwise collided, you can see, oh, this robot goes exactly where we want to go. Let's go do something else. Let's have an auto mode that goes and does something else useful so that we aren't, stepping on each other's toes and, you know, getting taking more impacts than we need to take because you hit two robots hit an auto the wrong way, that'll take both the robots out for the whole match, and you really don't want to, ruin your alliance partner's robot. Yeah, get ideas for quick adjustments to make your robot better. Know who's scary good. I mean, half the time, sometimes you can go into an event and you look at a team number, it's like, yep, they're gonna win this event. See what kind of defense you have to watch out for. You know, that's just self-explanatory. If you're trying to score, someone's going to be trying to stop you from scoring. Usually, look at how they're trying to stop you from scoring and try to come up with counters to their defense. Also, you're going to be doing a lot of scouting at the event. It's a lot easier to absorb the information when you're not under a time crunch. So, anything you can do to get information before you're actually there at the event is good. Pit scouting is something that we're definitely going to have to do. You ask about their drivetrain. That lets you know some information about like how hard are they to defend, how good is the robot potentially at defending. Granted, a driver makes a lot of difference on how good defense is. Ask about their capabilities. You know, certain things are obvious from looking at the robot, but even if it's obvious that they have a mechanism to do something, you can ask, well, how fast? How many cycles do you think you can do? Stuff like that. Because, it's really easy when pit scouting to make yourself look like an idiot that doesn't know anything. It really is. And And if you're in our pit, you're gonna find out that's the case. But if you legitimately don't didn't see something or don't understand something, don't feel bad if a team says, just points at it and says it's right there. You know, you guys are all new to this. It's kind of expected. You can also ask about their outreach and recruiting at this time. Our team has a long way to go on outreach and recruiting. So any ideas we can get from any of our, fellow Kansas City area teams, or even Arkansas and Iowa teams, because they're some of those are going to be at Cowtown. We can take those ideas and run with them to try to, bring our team to the next level. Especially at any off-season event, you can just learn about what kind of robots other teams build and, you know, look at how their mechanisms work and, what could we have done differently to be a better robot. Um, Remind me to make a pit scouting folder and share it with all you guys so we can, if you're not busy driving or scouting, any moment you have, take pictures, anything cool you see or anything, any fun things that happen, just so we have them just to A, for our own reference on mechanical things. B, we get cool looking pictures, that's a good recruiting tool. You know, we can put them on posters and in videos and try to recruit more people to our team. Match scouting. This kind of gets contentious. In past years, a lot of teams just absolutely hate scouting. Oh, yeah, Coach Bergman, that's absolutely correct, and I will get there. I will get there. We were just talking about pitch scouting. This is match scouting. Um, Depending on how good we think we'll do and how many students are present, we may or may not be trying to scout every match. Gold standard would be we scout every match and we have an entire database of you know what robots did when, who broke down, who did what. Hopefully, I mean, I know we may have at least one spy in here for another team, but definitely be on the lookout for robots that have trouble lining up to climb. We need to make a note of that. If they're just having a crazy time, lining up poorly, because we don't have a climber and we may be able to climb without a climber, so to speak, if we use that information to our advantage. Also, how long does it take to line up for them to climb, etc. Um, gonna click this link. So in the past, we usually use a paper scouting system. So it looks at teams, their current rank, initial position on field. You know, there's the initiation line. You just draw a box where their robot was. Check if they cross the initiation in auto. Tally how many power cells they scored in each goal during auto. Describe it. I would just use this as a note section of anything noteworthy happened, like they hit someone or they spun in circles or etc. This would just be a notable happenings box. Teleop, you score, how many power cells that robot scored, anything they do on the control panel. I'm gonna guess almost no one is going to be touching the control panel. Like maybe 5 teams will have a mechanism to touch the control panel. Robot end game position. That's fairly self-explanatory. Did they decline? This says climb. The terminology in the rule book is hang. So, did they get a hang? Did they buddy climb? You know, balance the switch. So here's the thing about scouting. If you aren't good at socializing, you might as well like attempt to scout because it's a good skill to learn. Like, and I think scouting is a lot easier than just random socializing. It's it's socializing with a purpose. You're trying to get information out of them. It, now you may make friends or, you know, have people, teams that, think we're cool or whatever at the event. But, I would say, especially if you aren't great at socializing, you should do pit scouting because it's good to learn now. And but yeah, penalties. Penalties are a massive part of scouting. Or it can be playing defense. Their defense can look amazing until you realize that the ref's been waving a flag at them the entire time and they've been racking up points for the other team. Um, oh yeah, but so I'll get back to that, but there are more implications to this. Defense, describe their defense. It's hard to describe defense. The best way to play defense is just park sideways in front of someone and just be in their way. Be real honest. Final score, ranking points, additional notes, and you need to sign off on your scouting sheets if we have a sheet-based scouting system. Some teams use an app to scout. If we want to use an app to scout, we'll need to bring battery banks and have good ways of filling out the information, etc. So, why scout? Well, the big one is alliance selection, which may or may not matter for us depending on how well we do. And that's kind of why scouting every match may become optional. If it becomes obvious at some point that we're not going to be in a picking position, we may shut down the scouting at early. But, if we're going to be in a picking position, we need to scout every match. Or at least have a scouting alliance with a team that will help scout every match. But so during qualifying matches, ranking gets set by RP. You get 2 for winning a match, 1 for tie, 1 for shield generator operational, which is having more than 65 in-game points, 2 hangs in a balance, or 3 hangs. 1 RP for shield generator energized, that's stage 3 active, which requires 9 power cells, and then Twilight Pass to start, and then you need to get 15 power cells and get rotational control, and then 15 more power cells and positional control. Now, certain off-season events have been getting rid of the color wheel entirely. I have no idea what Cowtown's doing. So it may or may not involve the color wheel. If it is just getting 30 power cells, like on an amazing day, or if these flat belts work, we may be getting close to that on our own, which would be awesome. These flat belts kind of work, we'll be able to contribute to that quite a bit. Um, but so when qualifying matches are over and everyone's ranking points have been tallied, there's a draft. The draft order is Alliance 1 through 8, 8 through 1, 1 through 8. Rank 1 is always the captain of Alliance 1 and can choose whomever they want to be their first alliance partner. It could be rank 2, it could be rank 52. Doesn't matter. Alliance 1 can choose whoever they want to be their captain. The highest remaining rank becomes Captain 2 and can choose whoever hasn't been picked. And the highest remaining rank becomes captain applies all the way down to Alliance 8. If you are picked, you may decline, but then you can no longer be picked. So it is a bad idea to decline unless you are sure you can become an alliance captain by rank. So if you're the rank 3 team and by scheduling luck, say the captain is just like no good. Captain of Alliance 1 is just no good and they pick you and you're in rank 3. It is totally a valid move in that situation to decline rank 1. and form your own alliance at, alliance 2 or 3, because the captain could still then pick 2 and they could accept. Or you can end up in a situation where, uh, in order to, say we're really bad and we get rank 1 because of scheduling luck, we could do what's known as a burn, where we force everyone in the top 8 to decline us so that they can't pick each other. Um, Alliance selection can get wild sometimes, and there was a situation in 2018 at Champs where we were up almost all night trying to figure out what would happen, because we were ranked 2 and we were pretty decent, but definitely not deserving of being ranked 2. We were like a rank, I'd say like 10. Rank 1, the rank 1 robot was more like the 23rd best robot on the field. And so they had the opportunity if they wanted to. They ended up not doing it. And they really should have. They should have burned through the top 8 and then picked the robot that they actually wanted. They didn't, and we were able to get a pretty good robot, and then we choked it away and didn't win the division. But, we were up all night trying to figure out what was going to happen in alliance selection because we knew the rank 1 captain was kind of a lame duck. But why? And the reason I made this sound so whiny is students will whine to us all the time about scouting. It's just how it is. But you need good data to make a good alliance. Unless you get very lucky with your picks, if you aren't scouting and getting good data about the robots at your event, you will make the wrong decision and doom your alliance. You'd be surprised how badly you can mess up an alliance by just picking a robot that makes no sense. Also, there's a matter of how much good pick can make an alliance. So, I have some examples of some bad picks and good picks. 2013, Galileo, Alliance 6. That is not what I wanted for Alliance. That will get me where I want to go, but that's also not how. Alliance 6, Dreadbots, SWAT, ATA. Us and 8. So Dreadbots got there are only like 8 qualifying matches, so the qualifying rankings were all kinds of messed up. This team, and don't harass them or say anything about them, but the Alliance 6 captain decided to scout by average match score and would not take our input on the third bot. So they picked us, which was already picking us way too early in the draft. We were, again, like 2018, we were about the 10th to 12th best robot there. But they picked us as pick 6, which is like, okay, okay, picking us at 6 is about right. I stand corrected. And so, but what they did is when they came back around, to their pick at the end, they picked ATA. Which is a very good robot, but they needed the exact same feeder station that we needed that for that year. And so our robots could not work together at all. Like it was a train wreck. And so what would have been a good pick and what our team wanted to do is we actually wanted to pick a team that actually didn't end up getting picked for alliance selection. Is our pick would have been team 70? Yeah, team 70. All the way down in rank 60 with I believe, a fairly tough schedule. I mean, they won that one. 125 was really good. That's a hard match. 14, 25, and 13. Oh my gosh, that's ouch. Like they're losing with like really good. They had to play against us, and like 174 is a really good score, but we put up 193. Like they had a difficult schedule, but what they had is a ground pickup. And the way the game worked that year, like our robot was a full court shooter, but we could get blocked really easily. But if we were blocked, we could aim over them. We just couldn't hit the goal. So what we were gonna do is if we got blocked, we were just gonna shoot them up in the air. Team 70 kind of stunk at picking up from the feeder station, but their ground pickup was really good. So we were just gonna make a pile of frisbees for Team 70, like under the pyramid, and just let 70 go nuts. But our alliance captain really wanted to pick ATA, which went from a we went from potentially having a synergistic pick to oh my gosh, what the heck are we doing? Yeah. So 2013, Newton Alliance won. Uh, Titanium that year picked 217 went around to everyone saying that they were dead and not a good robot to pick for the alliance selection because I think they like fell off the pyramid and like broke their robot. They got picked by the first alliance anyway, and then the first alliance got knocked out in the finals because 217 wasn't really able to contribute the way they should have been able to. So, scouting, noticing, hey, that robot that we wanted to pick, yeah, they just fell off the pyramid. We shouldn't pick them. 2014 GKC Alliance 3. Uh, there's a robot down in 25th place, Team 935. They had a two-ball auto, but they were really bad at holding on to the ball in teleop. But we put them in a position where it didn't really matter. We just needed them to touch the ball and get rid of it as fast as possible, which means a fumbling problem actually ended up being beneficial to us. So that alliance went really well, and we got to the finals even though we really had no right to get there because we picked the right robot. So more to what Coach Bargman was getting at is we have technology. So you can have some students make a scouting report for the upcoming match and send it to the drive team um, before every match so we know what to expect. The drive team and the pit crew are busy preparing our robot. We can do a little bit of strategy before the match, and we have to like talk to other drive teams, figure out what we're doing. It makes a big difference if we have good data coming to us before the match about what the other teams are doing, that we're up against, what we're with. Because sometimes, our alliance partners will be adamant that they need to do a certain thing that they're really bad at. And we need, if we have data saying, yeah, but you're not good at this, please don't do this. It's a lot more convincing. And, depending on how bad they are, might affect how adamant our drive team is in negotiations about match strategy. Like if a robot says that they absolutely need to be a scoring robot and they don't have any like justification that they've changed anything from the last match and they missed every shot they took in the previous match and matches before that. I like I'm going to be down there saying, you guys need to play defense. Please play defense. You have much more value as a defensive bot. So, giving the drive team, hey, this is what you need to look for. Also, again, if a team is really bad at lining up decline, there are things we can do about it. I won't get into that. That might be an in-person update. Also, we need to be scouting ourselves. Um, the drive team is not going to be perfect. No one has, everyone has barely any, stick time. It, it's we're going to make a lot of mistakes. We need to be scouting our own matches to see what we can do better. Look at where we're wasting time on cycles. if we're playing defense, are we getting just dumb penalties? Like, scout ourselves. It also lets us know what to expect come alliance selection. Like, regardless of our rank, we can scout ourselves and know how we look, and thus we know what to expect. You know, and it gives us some, knows who to start negotiating with for alliance selection, because it's very easy to go up to another team and just be like, hey, are you guys gonna pick us? Just so you know ahead of time, because the second, if we can know that we're on alliance with someone early, like before alliance selection, we can already be pouring through the data and figuring out, how to optimize our alliance. Penalties. Everyone. I mean, everyone. Probably mentors included. And as a reminder to myself, I need to go refresh myself on the game manual. We need to read the game manual before Cowtown. I know it is like 123 pages. Granted, like most of this is like a lot of this is a glossary, a lot of this is formatting, a lot of this is, you know, robot rules that we've already taken care of. Like, but especially like the game rules. We all need to have like a good understanding of the rules. Especially if you have any inkling of being on the drive team, you need to know these rules. We cannot be getting dumb penalties because we don't know the rules. There are rules about like going on and off the field to put your robot on the field. There are rules about like taking a reasonable time to set up before the match. There are rules about a lot of things that you may not think that there are rules about, that you need to know, that come with penalties and yellow cards and red cards. And we need to know them, because ignorance is not, we can't go to the ref and say, well, we didn't know. No, this rule book's been out forever, since last spring, and we are expected to be able to know and follow the rules. But also, when you're scouting, you need to know, like, when the teams that we're scouting get penalties, we need to know why. Like, we need to be able to look at it and know, oh, they got a penalty for X. Pinning, contacting protected areas, having too many power cells. We also need to watch our own matches and know what our own penalties are because of. Because we're gonna get at least one penalty through this competition. I'm sure. But also, if a team's getting a ton of penalties, we need to not pick them, or if for some reason we're forced to be on an alliance with them, do whatever we can to try to keep them from getting those penalties. Information gathering, it is, um, you know, what scouting is. But remember that in the design process and the scientific method, research is the second step. Refer back to the design and FRC slideshow for places to look for information about teams. That's shared with you all. It's a good place to look. Scouting doesn't just apply to games. The idea of looking at other robots and teams for strategies, and ideas apply to business, recruiting, team organization. It applies to programming. We can go look at GitHub and how other teams are accomplishing things in their code, and go look at what they're doing. So, you know, we should always be trying to gather information before we just haul off and do something. So I'm gonna go pull up. This is this is the event view on Blue Alliance. And I'm going to pull up a more recent event, so hopefully it's got more relevant stuff. Team. You were in that division? Oh, no. I'm just going to go to our team. This is a team view. You can drop down previous season. I'm just going to go to 2018. That load. Turing division. So hopefully, I asked them about this, but I don't know if Cowtown Throwdown is going to be having live scoring information on the Blue Alliance. I'd really hope so, because that'll make a lot of our jobs a lot easier for a lot of things. So this is like every qualifying match, the teams in each match and their result. The alliances for, when after alliance selection happened, playoff matches and their results. You get this nice diagram of like who won over who. You can see we got knocked out in the semifinals from Alliance 2. There's tabs up here, so you can go see qualifying rankings. So the ranking score, that's that like ranking points that you get, that like 2 for winning, 1 for tie, and then there's usually some other girls that get you some other rankings. It's usually expressed as an average, even though it is by just total ranking points. So, they averaged 3.1. We averaged 3.1. We actually tied, and they had the tiebreaker here. So yeah, you can see like how many climb points they got, how many auto points, ownership, and vault. Now these are all in the first system and on Blue Alliance. These are all alliance totals. So it's like the sum of all points of every alliance that we were on for park and climb points was 745. The sum of all auto points for every alliance we were on was 417. Ownership, vault, record. So yeah, and also here's another good example. We almost, we lost one match the whole event, which you would think we'd have more ranking score because of that. But they got more climb. There was a ranking point for climbing, having a certain number of climbing points. And this team got more of those and managed to tie us with less wins. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But yeah, here's just the team list, and if there are pictures of robots, they're here. Insights, OPR. We'll get there, but in general, this is like an estimate of how good a team is. And we're on there for that year. Insights about, the percent success of certain tasks, auto runs, etc. Slideshow. Oh yeah, and if one of the events running, Blue Alliance will have predictions at some point. They're not always the most accurate, but yeah. But yeah, so Cowtown Throwdown may or may not have their information on the Blue Alliance. I sure hope so. Oh yeah, the other thing about the Blue Alliance is there is a mobile app for both iOS and Android. You should all install that on your phones if you have a phone. The Blue Alliance. But yeah, we don't have any stream information about Cowtown Throwdown. There should be a live stream. There almost always is. OPR. It's an acronym. It stands for Offensive Power Rating. It looks at every match as a matrix and tries to solve that matrix at an event for a robot's contribution to their alliances. For some games, it's very useful. It's like almost as good as like sitting there and scouting the matches. For other games, it's not very useful. OPR assumes linearity in scoring. So, like for 2017, it was really bad. For 2007, it was like terrible. For 2020, it's pretty reasonable. like it's still better to scout the matches manually, but if for some reason we have like a personnel shortage or have issues like, or if we're just in some desperation for some reason, like making a pick based off OPR, especially for a first pick, is not the worst thing. It's certainly better than average score. I would still prefer that we scout all the time and make a decision based on, a robot that is very good and also will work well with us, you know. And the Blue Lions has a blog, you know, it kind of, I kind of gave you a TLDR of it. Like, look, 2007, it's like terrible. 2012, this only goes up to 2017, but 2013 is pretty good. Scoring was pretty linear that year. So yeah. So that's kind of all I've got on scouting. But the fact that you know about this means that we have more work to do than just getting the robot ready. Um, so there's only so many hands that can be on the robot at any given time. Um, so if you are not actively working on the robot and you're just standing around, you could be working on a scouting sheet or our scouting system for Cowtown. Or going and finding our scouting sheet, because I think we made one for 2020 and got to use it for one event and then never again. But we need an Excel document to compile the information from the scouting sheets. Also we usually like have assignments for scouting. I don't know how close we're going to stick to that. Yeah, scouting is one thing you can work on if you're not working on the robot. Recruiting is another thing you can work on if you're not actively working on the robot. Our team is very small, if you haven't noticed. And we haven't really been doing like demo events or cafeteria displays or, a pep rally or anything. We need to like try to do anything we can for recruiting. So if you're not working on the robot, you should be working on recruiting. Or you could be looking at fundraising, going and finding grants for us to apply to, going and prepping a like team information document to go talk to local businesses. Outreach. We used to do harvesters every year and like make meals for or like sort cans or honestly I was always busy so I don't know exactly what we used to do. But like we used to do like charity events and stuff. We need to get back on that at some point. And also just like demo events. So I'll give you all a dirty little secret. Sometimes a outreach demo event can turn into a sponsorship. Not necessarily by a charity, but like if we go and like demo for at some company just as like an outreach thing. You can do outreach that turns into fundraising. We should try to do that. Because our team needs money. Not, if nothing else to pay for the entry fees, ideally we get enough money to where we can do things like buy some Falcon 500s for next year. Maybe if we do really well, we could buy like some new tools for next year if we get to that point. But there's a lot of opportunity in recruiting, fundraising, and outreach that just isn't happening right now. But these can also be worked on outside um, meeting hours. That's why we have Slack. I mean, you can, if you want to like make like some documents to talk to, businesses with, or help pitch the team to potential students, sponsors, potential mentors. We only have 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 mentors right now. Um, yeah, that's a lot. Like for example, Team 1678 has like 20 mentors and 100 students. And Yes, Coach Bargeman, I really want those Falcons because I like being able to navigate and autonomous and like have and having a flywheel that responds quickly. Like, at this point, it's not even about the motor itself; it's about the motor controller and being brushless. But and also because we're probably gonna have to buy more motors anyway at some point. So whether we buy more Neos or buy some Falcons at that point isn't really that big of a difference. So we need the money anyway. Anyway, so also, we may revisit this at the beginning of the meeting tomorrow, but if the students want, I can set up like idea box, like brainstorming documents on Slack or Google Drive, whether they're like a channel or like a document, where we can just log like, hey, we should talk to this company, or um, you know, hey, we should do this demo event, or we should, have a booth at Oktoberfest, which is probably already over, but you know, just ideas for like different demo events and stuff we can do because you know we need to be a bigger part of our community and maybe stop being so. I mean, there's so many students in Smithville High School that don't even know who we are. Is the bulk of it. Also, the other thing is we haven't had a like any. We used to do have our coach would talk about our robot and we demo at pep rallies and stuff. We haven't really been able to do that because our mentors are all effectively either remote or busy during those times or would have to take vacation. But I work from home, and so I might not be able to be there in person to talk about the team, but I could definitely hop on a Skype call and be a Skype call presence at an event like that during school hours. So if we need to talk to Schaefer about getting us into a pep rally, I don't know if that's the biggest or the best thing we can do, but it's certainly better than doing nothing. We should look into that. But anyway, um, that's it for the meeting. I guess for the engagement questions for this, I guess just I would like everyone who's watching now to post some idea for like recruiting, fundraising, and outreach. Just some idea of something that we should do. Some hype video or something similar. That's a great idea. You should, Nathaniel, you should work with Nathan Fletcher. He's really interested in video editing, and I also do some video editing. Like, you know, so yeah, talk to me and Nathan about that, and well, and if anyone else is interested in a hype video, because we can take some. Ideally we'd have it out by Cowtown, but that's like next week, and what we could do is we have pictures of our actual team competing and videos of our team competing at Cowtown. We can take those, edit those together, get some hype royalty free music pumping, and I think ideally if we know who like I know they have TVs in the cafeteria that play like school information during lunch. We could get on there. I think that would also help uh do stuff. Oh yeah, and a reveal video would be good, but that's further down the road. But what actually I'll just pull it up now. I'll have to mute it. Uh, so our Twitch channel doesn't get copyright striked, But they've got if you know Macklemore Can't Hold Us, that's what's playing during this. I'll just Actually, I'll just paste the link in chat. But also, hey students, I know you might not know this, but I can see all the usernames that are here and not saying anything. Just saying. I may not know who all of you are, but I know there's a bunch of you here not participating. I mean, I'm glad you're even here, but you know, I mean, Kevin even just said I have no clue, and I'll accept that. But at least I know Kevin's here and he's thinking about it at least. Yeah, because yeah, I mean, but anyway, the takeaway here is just a we need to scout. Oh, how do we meet up or get some sponsors? That's a great question. Um, so a lot of times you just the best way to talk to a business is not to go there saying that it's a sponsorship request. What you do is you ask to demo for their company. We bring their robot, we shoot a few power cells or, shoot a few frisbees. I still need to do some work on the 2013 robot to make it really truly reliable. But um and we'd be like, look, this is all designed by high schoolers with, help from industry professionals. And then a lot of times they will be like, oh, are you a nonprofit? Here's some money. So, you know, we also need to be able to like prove our like financials, like our budgets. We need to be able to, ideally we show some outcomes of our students from the past, like of like who all went on to have a STEM career, who all did well, in life in general, who all went on to college and like graduated. We don't have necessarily all that data right now, but, you know, we certainly have some anecdotal examples that are great. Like, I mean, Chris Ariano just got in full-time position at Google, like, and that's one of our alumni. So, you know, that's how we get some sponsors. But, sponsorship isn't everything when it comes to money. We should also just be looking at grants, which is just basically we need all that same information I was just talking about, but we submit it to some foundation and then they give us money. So, yeah. Anyway, um, I'll sit here for about a minute in case anyone has anything else, but I think that concludes this evening. See y'all tomorrow and hope everyone shows up ready to work because between the robot and all the bookkeeping and strategy stuff that we need to do. Oh, and also you guys all need to read the manual. That's a big one. We got a lot to do. Um, Again, if you or no someone you know is standing there doing nothing at a meeting, there's other stuff to do. Yeah, that's all for tonight. Later.